But Barrister Mbeseha would not know if you would agree with us or try to explain and analyze why this is. Two-state solution is what Ambazonians desire. What do you desire at this point, Barrister Mbeseha?
I think I totally disagree. The two-state solution, as propounded or as said by Philemon Young and other actors at the United Nations General Assembly, does not apply to Ambazonia. It should never apply to us. What does the two-state solution mean? You have to visit it to know that doesn't apply to us. What did you talk? They are talking about two-state solutions to the people of Israel and Palestine. They need a state for Israel. They need a state for Palestine. But why is this thing common? It is common. Remember that Palestine, until 1948, there was one entity called Palestine. It was a mandated territory, just like British Southern Cameroon and French administered Cameroon. It was a mandated territory under the United Nations. There was only one Palestine. There was no Israel there. There was only one Palestine. And in 1948, when the British purportedly agreed to create a state, a Jewish state for Israel, inside Palestine, in that land called Palestine, they created a state called Israel. And then inside that area they carved and called Israel, there were Palestinians living there. They were forced out of their houses in order to plant the state of Israel there. So they created a state of Israel inside Palestine. The Palestinians don't have a territory. And so they have been fighting that war of their own territory. And as far back as 1993, they had what they call the Oslo peace talks. In Oslo, that's in Norway. They went there, the Palestinians were there, headed by Yasser Arafat. The Israelis were there, headed by Yasser Rabin, the prime minister. And they agreed that the best thing for us to do to solve this problem is that a state of Israel should exist side by side with the state of Palestine in the same piece of land, which was called Palestine. In other words, the state of Israel will share the same state, the former state called Palestine, with a new state, Palestine. It was in 1993. So what Philemon Young is saying is not new. They signed up to this agreement. It was bilateral. The Palestinians were there, as you have said, they were there. The Israelis were there. Their prime ministers signed it. And even as a follow-up, they came to United States, to Washington, D.C., and met uh, Bill Clinton, who was then the prime minister. They went to Camp David to negotiate all those things. It did not work. It has not worked. Why? Because even the agreement of the principle of two states, that is a state for Israel, is occupied by the Israelites, and a state for Palestine, occupied purely by the Palestinians, that it has become impossible to implement. Because Israel has gone now to occupy most of the land that could have become the state of Israel, the state of Palestine. It has made it impossible. And so the two-state solution does not apply to us. Why? Because we are not disputing the same territory with La Republic of Cameroon. Since 1919, we don't share the same territory. We have defined boundaries. That's why that theory of safe passage, which you said in the earlier segment, applies. The Republic does not dispute that their boundary ends at Matazan. They don't dispute that their boundary ends at the Mongol. These are the boundaries. We have two states already. We are not
Okay.
disputing, Ambazonian are not disputing any territory in Douala or in Bafoussam or in Bunda. No. We already have a state defined by law with pillars standing there dividing the two states. What they
But,
need
but
is
Barrister
just the
Mbesia, sorry, before you go on, I think I understand this trajectory here. These two states are defined, but it hasn't been recognized. And that is where it is. That is where the Israel-Palestine case is way above or way ahead. The recognition. We have, or Ambazonians have, a defined state. We have defined boundary. So what's happening to the recognition? So that's the
Yeah,
problem.
these are two different things. What we Ambazonians are fighting for is the recognition of our own territory, which is already
Oh,
existing. We have
okay.
the government right there. What the Palestinians are fighting for is the creation of their own state.
Okay.
I wonder if you understand me. They are fighting for a creation of their own state that will lead to their own recognition. We already have a state geographically positioned from point A to point B. This is territory called Southern Cameroon since 1919. We are not claiming their territory. They are not claiming, they should not be claiming us. It's just a question of the interpretation of the text. For us, right now, we are fighting for recognition, not for the creation of Ambazonia. A two-state solution is for the creation of the state of Palestine, side by side, the state of Israel. Ambazonians are not fighting for the creation of the state of Ambazonia. No, we are fighting for the recognition. I wonder if you find the difference. Because already exist, I've said. If you go and read the Oslo, no, not the Oslo, the Green Tree Agreement. Earlier, sometime last year, we addressed the Green Tree Agreement. Why was the Green? Why was there a war in the Bakassi Peninsula? The Green Tree, the ICJ, the International Court, agrees that look, Bakassi was part of British Cameroon. There's no dispute that. Read the read the agreement there. Read the judgment. See, it is part of Southern Cameroon. But RPP is laying claim to it now, based on the plebiscite. They say we joined them. So these boundaries are identifiable. When they
Yeah.
made the Green Tree Agreement, they started tracing the boundaries from the chart, saying this is where the pillar was planted yesterday. It has fallen. This is where the pillar was standing there 6 months, 2 years, 10 years ago. I talking here. I still have some of the pillars dividing Southern Cameroon from East Cameroon. They are still standing in my own village. If you go there, you find the pillars standing there. So they just need to retrace the boundaries. We're not fighting for the creation of a state. We're fighting for the recognition of a state. The Palestinians are fighting for the creation of their own state. Even right now, for example, Palestine, they have been admitted to United Nations General Assembly as a government, but they don't have a state there. The state should be created formally by telling Israel, you don't go beyond this point. This is where you end. These are your own boundaries as defined and agreed by whoever. And so that is what it stands for. Then, formally again, what Solomon Young says now, or anybody in this session, as they're speaking now, two-state solution, 10-state solution in the crisis in Palestine, in Ambazonia, or anywhere else, is not yet a solution, it's not a resolution. These are opinions. After this week, this is the end of the general. People just come there and make statements and pass, give your own opinion.
Okay.
The session,
Now,
the session
some
will last.
persons may
Let
not,
me
by
finish.
Mbeseha, some persons may
Okay.
not, have gotten this video clear. You're saying it's a statement, but let's see that video where, Fimon proposed the two-state solution. Let's see it again. While we'll come back to you for more analysis, let's see that video.
Indeed, only a two-state solution can end the cycle of violence and instability, ensuring peace, security, and dignity for both Palestinians and Israelis. Excellencies, we should be coming together for peace and the well-being of our citizens. We should not divert essential resources into military stockpiles, fueling an arms race never before seen since the Cold War era.
By Mbeseha, your
Yes,
tea.
I got him. I was trying to come there. What he's saying is a proposal. He's not alone. The United States, by Biden went there 2 days ago, three, and said the same thing. But what I'm saying is that what they have said now, what Philemon was saying, and any other person in the United States or whoever has said, is not yet a resolution. These are general proposals. At the end of this week, when those general declarations are finished, The session has 1 year to last. They will go now sit down and debate issues and pass resolutions, which become the binding law, not just the opinion of Philemon Young or Biden or Paul Biya or anybody. They still have a whole year to go, transforming those wishes that Philemon Young, for example, was expressing into concrete resolutions, which concrete resolution can be sent to the Security Council for enforcement. For now, anybody who comes on the platform and says anything he's saying, that's a good idea. They are all representatives of countries. That very country that puts down anything there, whether it is on this conflict or anything, has to move further and try and make that wish, translate that wish into a resolution by proposing a resolution in the next 9 months, because the session, 79 session, goes right to September next year. Then the General Assembly will then pass the resolution in whatever form you proposed. If it passes, for it to be enforced, in most cases, they will send it to the Security Council to go down and enforce it. But Philemon Young can say what he likes. He can keep quiet if he cares. Some people who have a problem, somebody, in other words, some country, must take it as responsibility to propose a resolution before the General Assembly if they want it to be implemented. It becomes a resolution, they pass it, just like Resolution 1608, they count the vote. These majority members have voted yes to this resolution, it passes. If you require the Security Council to implement it, they send it there. If you require the ICJ to implement the resolution passed, they send it there. Or whatever thing it is, they send it to the relevant body. But for now, again, that's not the important thing. The important thing is, for me, the solution of Ambazonian problem is not a two-state solution, because we are not disputing territory with La République. La République is not disputing territory with us. Our boundaries are defined and acceptable internationally and otherwise. La République knows that. They know that. Luckily for us, they have done also one good thing, which was a mistake. In carving out their so-called regions, they did not make the mistake of saying, okay, Santa, you join Bunda and belong to the West. They never did that. They kept those boundaries intact. They did not come and say Tico or Modeka. You become part of Douala. They didn't trace that. They didn't come to the BLM and say, well, you share a boundary here. You become part of Cham and vice versa. They never did that. So our boundaries are still intact. Where you call us Northwest or Southwest, the boundaries that divide East Cameroon, which is La République de Cameroon, and Southern Cameroon, which is Ambazonian, have been laid out and accepted since 1919. We are not disputing territory with them. We don't need a two-state solution with them, because we're not looking for a state. We already have a state. But the state is looking for a state with its undefined boundaries, which we don't have. We have a state. What we're looking for is recognition. I wonder if that answers your question.
Oh well, to a large extent it does, but we just being optimistic, knowing that we are way ahead, and it is what it is.
No, it's
But
okay. It's
we'll
okay.
definitely.
It gives us the room to discuss. It gives us the room to discuss, to be educated, to be informed. If somebody has the contrary view from mine, they are very much free to do that. Do that. But that is my own definition. That's my own understanding of the law.
All right, sir. Well, I know Barrister Fru might want to say a thing or two over the weekend when this comes up.